And you also want to take actions that align with what you want. Hey everyone, this is Ananda Sharma, and in today's episode, we're going to talk about trusting the timing of everything. I believe in divine timing. I believe that sometimes we think we want something at the same moment, but sometimes that's not exactly the perfect moment for what we want. We might not have developed the skills, the personality, the backbone that's necessary to bring in those things that we want. So we're gonna dive into trusting the process and really understanding more about the timing of everything, and kind of diving into what society says is the right timing for something and what truly is the right timing for stuff. So let's go straight into the video. See, sometimes we think that we want our life actually mapped out into a certain way. So we might go for the career, the job, the house, the car, everything that we've seen other people have or we have thought we wanted. We might get influenced from social media, from seeing certain images, or from, someone expressing what they have, and then it can come from what someone else has, and then all of a sudden you think that you may want it, but it doesn't really align with your lifestyle or who you are as a person. So when those moments happen in life, sometimes we feel like we're running out of time, or that, we don't have the possession of that item or that thing that we really desire, and we feel kind of stuck, and we feel this rush to run and go get that, that luxury car or that house or whatever it is that you really want. But sometimes we have to understand that maybe that's not really what we want, but we've been influenced to believe that that's what we want. The way we can actually know what we want and really understand that those wants are constantly changing, what you might have wanted right this moment and have made up your mind, in a few years you can actually shift off on what you really desire. If you are committed to those goals of the things that you wanted, you have to understand that sometimes when everything is going wrong, it just might not be the right timing. It might just be not the time for you. That's why I strongly believe in the divine timing, the right timing. You have to trust the process. We always hear that phrase, to trust the process. It's coming. You can sometimes take action towards something, and then you can sometimes, make small steps to get towards what you want and your goals. But if everything is going wrong, there might be some other things that you need to work on before you can actually reach those goals and really be happy with where you are in life. So sometimes when I look back at my life and I look back at what I thought I wanted and what I have or want right now, sometimes for the most part, it does align. It's so important to be flexible in life and definitely be okay with changes that are going to come. Life happens, and sometimes we envision this certain lifestyle and it's hard for us to let go of it. But it's important to understand that the sooner you let go of, that exact route to get where you want, is when you're gonna open the doors to things. You kind of have to put out the energy of what you want. If you want to, have a certain house, you want to put that energy out. You want to go look at that house to make sure that that's truly what you want. Maybe you just saw it in a video, or maybe you just saw a picture of it. Maybe you don't really want it, but you think you want it. So now you've created this whole path to get somewhere that you don't really want. So It's so important to actually take little steps and go out. If it's a house, go look at the house, go walk through it. Even if you can afford it or you can't afford it right at that moment, it's so important to go and look at it, and really see if you can envision yourself in there. And when you have an idea of that and when you see yourself in that environment, you'll kind of feel like if it's correct or if it's not. And how do you determine whether, this is the right thing for you? Does it align with what you want your future to look like? For example, if you want a certain career in 5 years, do you think that that career will align with the house that you are picking out right now? Or do you think that maybe you would have to do the career that you wanted plus something else? Is there something else that you might need to do in order to have that house? There's like little things like that you can do, or you can, go on the fact that sometimes things just happen in divine timing and we have luck and we have chance. So sometimes you might not completely align, or maybe you would think that you wouldn't be able to get that dream home, but in 5 years somehow you've won the lottery or you've invested your money in some kind of way and you can actually afford it. And those are the reasons why you should never say I can't, because you possibly in most cases can, if you stay on track with your visions of where you want to be and what you want to do. You can definitely get there with the habits in place and with the steps that you would need to get there. What we also have to understand is sometimes when a goal takes a very long time to get to it, by the time we get to it, sometimes our ideas and what we wanted has changed. And sometimes we have to alter it because it no longer fits that image. That might not fit what you want in 5 years. You might think that you want it right now, but when you sometimes have what you want, it's not exactly what you want. So now you're going into this path of life where you want to change a lot of things in your life because it no longer aligns with what you want. It's important for us to be flexible in our goals, realistic, consistent, and precise, and try to achieve them within the time that you want. It's important to understand that timing is everything. And sometimes if you wait too long for the goal, you no longer really desire it or you no longer care for it. But it doesn't mean that it's not significant. If you see that it's 7 years later and that goal that you really wanted to achieve, you haven't achieved it, but you still want to achieve it, you should still go ahead and do it. And you shouldn't let society tell you that it's too late or you can't do it or, it's not the right timing and you missed your time because, who made up these rules, right? Who told you that you can't do something at an older age? It's kind of like changing your career, going back to school. It's never too late. You should keep going for your goals and understand that life will get in the way of things. When I look back at my life and I see some things that I thought I really wanted, and when you become in possession of these things, sometimes you understand that it's not exactly what you wanted, or it no longer aligns with your dreams and your goals. So in those times, sometimes you have to reevaluate, you have to reconsider, you have to, understand if this is something you want to keep continuing or if you want to completely change course. So you are not going to always be the same person. You're always going to grow. You're going to evolve. You're going to become the better version and the best version of yourself. So it's good to be definitely flexible with your goals and realistic with those goals that you have. Some of those things that you can do to kind of prevent yourself from backtracking and having to reinvent yourself and having to reconsider your whole life and start over is really taking time and really evaluating and reevaluating your life. You take out the time and you really quiet your mind and reflect on what you love, what you're passionate about, and what you really want that is not influenced through social media, through somebody told you to do this, or, you're influenced from your family to do something. So it's so important to understand what you really desire. When you get that understanding and when you really understand yourself, you can then take an approach to see what you really want. Because sometimes we start a path, especially when we're younger, we start this path and we think that this is what we want. And then, life starts to hit you, and then you go through life and you realize that you've been living someone else's life, and that's not the best feeling in the world. That's not amazing. You feel like time has been lost. But you can always look at everything as a learning experience, as an experience that, you went through life, you experienced different pathways in life, and it's okay because now it has built character and it has made you a better person. And you can definitely look for ways to pull out what you've learned through that experience. But it doesn't mean that you should navigate life doing something that you do not love to do. And you should definitely try to adjust your life to what fits your life. But before you have to go through that, it's very important to self-reflect and truly go for what you want and not what everyone else is telling you, and not what you're seeing on social media, on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, or even your friends influencing you to take a certain pathway. So it's so important to take that time out and reflect on who you want to be and what you want to be doing with your life. But it's okay to not know, and it's okay to make mistakes and pick up. Well, you definitely create character, and you create personality, and you create who you are. You learn through your journey. So it's never a loss, and you should never reflect of it as if it's a loss. Once you can really adhere to your timeline, you can then be really consistent and clear and precise to what you want to do. You don't just start navigating your timeline based on what you think other people want you to do, or friends, families, or etc. If you definitely want to start to plan your life according to what you truly want to do. So a lot of people's passions are what they did as a child, or sometimes it might not be exactly clear, because it would be kind of like saying, well, if you sang as a child, you should be a singer. But it doesn't always have to be that way. But it could be like you sang as a child and now you like to write music, and that's really your passion. Or you like to do something around those lines that bring you satisfaction. Or there might actually be a skill set that you had that you need to really dive in to understand more about. So you might have also had other skills that you need to reevaluate, like communication. It could be different type of skills that you might have had. You could have been really good with the computer. You could have been really good in certain fields, or you're really good at cooking and you didn't realize that you were great at cooking, or you're great at, skincare products, like creating certain things when you got a little older. There could have been something, and it's so important to really meditate and really take that moment to understand what you like to do, because it's sometimes extremely hard to find what you like to do if you're constantly being influenced. We're being influenced from the moment we put our foot outside and we walk in a store or we go somewhere. There's constant influence everywhere. So it's important to really quiet your mind and see what you like to do and really trust that. And once you pick what you like to do, the next step is stay consistent and believe in yourself, and don't proceed with doubt. Don't start to doubt yourself and say, maybe this is not the right way. You know what? I'm going to try to take the easier route that everyone else told me to do. It's so important to stay consistent and do the things that you like, because you only get really one life to live, right? We don't really know if there's any other lifetime. So if you waste your life away just living for other people, people pleasing, and doing all of that, you're going to look back and see that you've wasted a lot of time in your life, a lot of precious, valuable time living under someone else's vision of you. Once you start to do the things you love and you find your passion in life, it's so important to understand that it's okay if, somebody else had whatever you wanted a little quicker, or they had it, in a few months, and you are looking at possibly a few years. It's okay, because that is your timeline, and that timeline for yourself is going to get you where you need to be. So it's okay if, you're looking at, I don't know, like 6 years into graduating, and then somebody else is looking at 4 years, and now because of society saying that it should have been 4 years, you look at that goal, you get there, and you're dissatisfied, or you're wondering, was this the right route for yourself? So it's very important to trust yourself and understand that everything happens at the right timing. So don't just stop on your goals because you don't see instant gratification. You're waiting for that instant gratification. That's not going to always happen in all cases. Sometimes, you want to open a business, but you can't open a business tomorrow. But then someone else can open a business tomorrow. That doesn't mean that that's not the path for you. That just means that you may need to overcome a few things before you can open a business. You don't know that person's life. You don't know what they were doing before they opened the business. You don't know how they got the business. You don't know anything. So it's so important to just trust your process. Don't overanalyze other people's process so much, because you will then feel like this is maybe not the right path for you, and you might stop. You might give up, and maybe if you just hung in there for another year, you would be exactly where they are, or even, further along. So it's so important to not sit there and compare yourself to others, because you're not going to feel motivated to keep going on your goals. You're going to maybe feel defeated at times, and you're going to be self-sabotaging yourself if you constantly keep comparing yourself to others. Sometimes things are just a blessing in disguise. So if it had happened at that time, it could have thrown off the course of everything. So you sometimes have to evaluate things and look at it in a positive mindset, in a positive way, that it's happening at the right time. Because there's a lot of times in life where you look back and you realize that what's happening in your life, if it happens earlier, it would have been wrong for so many reasons. And you definitely should take time. And sometimes when you feel like you're falling behind, you can understand, use this as evidence to understand why your life is exactly how it should be and where it should be. Because sometimes you look at your life and you see where you are presently, and let's say you're in a great place in life right now, you can definitely use that as evidence, as if this happens that way, I wouldn't have X, Y, and Z. So it's so important for us to understand that everything happens in divine timing, but we do have to stay on track and trust the process and make the right decisions in the course of time in order to get to our goals. It's so crucial to be in the same energy space as the thing that you are calling in. So if you are trying to manifest this new life and it's, high energy, it's positive energy, and you're in this negative mindset, this negative state, or depressed, anxious, frantic, it's not going to help with you bringing in what you truly desire. So it's very important to be grateful for where you are right now and understand that as long as you appreciate the state that you are in now, you're able to maintain a calm presence, an energetic match for your dream, for what you want. So it's so important to be grateful and live in the moment. In order to jump into that best version of yourself, you do have to be content with where you are, because as long as you're content, you're able to continue doing what you need to do, and your mindset is very positive and you're ready to receive the benefits of what you have been putting out. So all the work that you've been putting in, you're able to receive it, and your mind is able to be clear, and you're able to think clear and concise. And the next step would be about basically making your plans clear and concise in order to get to those goals. So it's important for you to be happy in the state that you are in, but also plan in ways that you can improve your current situation. So every little step that you're taking is definitely going to help you get to that dream and get to that goal. So maybe that person that you're comparing yourself to was able to achieve the goal in a day. But for you, it might take even months and months to achieve that goal. It doesn't mean that that person is now more worthy or anything. It just means that you are now ready to receive the benefits of your work. This is your time, because maybe now you have everything that you need, the knowledge that you need to really receive that. And I just believe the world can definitely be funny like that, because sometimes we believe right now, right this moment, that we need something. I have also tried to tell myself it's okay, you'll reach that goal in a year, and sometimes it's harder. It's harder to actually accept, but in the ending, when you look back at it, you really understand that if you had received it at that time, it could have been a complete disaster. You were truly not ready. So it's so important to be happy, be in that energy that you need to be in order to bring in what you're calling in. And in order to really manifest what you want. And you also want to take actions that align with what you want. So if you say you want to, let's say, buy a house, and you constantly take all of the money that you should be saving and you're putting it into something else, that action is not really aligning to the goal that you want. So as clear as simple as what I just said can be clear to someone who maybe not even want that goal, because they're not really thinking about it too hard. They can understand, okay, this is what they would need for to reach that goal. For someone who is eager and desperate for that goal, it's sometimes not that clear. So sometimes taking that moment to stop, breathe, do the research on what you need to do in order to reach that goal is so important, because it doesn't just come natural. Sometimes when we want something so bad, it's like our brain can get foggy and we don't even know what steps we need to take. So research, ask around, and sometimes the answer will be right in front of you. So definitely take action, because you can't just dream. You can't just sit down and say, I want something, and then, magically it's going to appear. That is maybe 0.1% chance that that might happen if for some reason you just won the lottery or somebody just handed it to you. But realistically, we have to take action. So we reached the ending of the video, and if you like videos like this that talks about concepts of improving yourself, self-improvement, reinventing yourself, and just manifesting your dream life and all of that sort, make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe, and definitely check out my next video. It might be here on the screen or here, where I discuss more about reinventing yourself and how you can invest in yourself.